a really positive interpretation of that connection.
Formula One, though, specifically, let's look at that. It exists in a little bit of a bubble, doesn't it? You know, it moves around the world from circuit to circuit. What do you make of the comments that have been made by the likes of Bernie Ecclestone about, you know, the sport not really having anything to do with what's going on in a particular country?
Well, it targets particular countries. It's got 20 venues. More and more it's looked beyond the traditional markets of Europe and North America to the Asian markets, so that you've got China, South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, United Arab Emirates and Bahrain now on this circuit. This is interesting as well, because in the global economic recession there's been some income that's been lost for a lot of teams and sponsors, and so securing a wider global market has been absolutely pivotal to it. The really important thing to recognise, though, is Bernie Ecclestone speaks not necessarily for a world federation or international sports federation the way that, say, the president of the International Olympic Committee speaks. He actually speaks for his own Formula One interests, and the commercial rights of Formula One have been ceded, if you like, for 100 years by the International Federation to the Ecclestone organisation. His investment is in a global corporate initiative, and when he speaks to us, he's speaking for those interests within the specialist committee that regulates Formula One, the World Motorsport Council. A recent newcomer is also a member of the Bahrain royal family, who actually got in there by becoming president of the International Karting Association, and so it gave him membership of this area, of this particular inner committee. And Ecclestone represents these kinds of interests much more than, for instance, the Olympics might claim to represent global ideals more internationally.
So, Professor, what does history tell us about sporting boycotts having an impact politically?
It tells us that sometimes it can work if a whole international federation is behind something, like the International Olympic Committee, and if you look at the greatest story of all of the last century, it was the effect of sporting boycott of South Africa on apartheid. You can hardly imagine the moments, those world historical moments of Mandela putting a rugby jersey on when South Africa won the World Cup and then the African Nations Soccer Cup, without that story and that narrative of apartheid. And that happens when states at times come to share the goals and the interests of international federations. But Formula One is very different in this sense, because it's not got what you might call a comprehensive membership of all the nation states of the world, and the contests really are between corporate entities in this, what you called the bubble earlier, this cocooned construction of the spectacle, usually miles away from the people. So to hear the Crown Prince say that this is bringing all the people together is almost risible. If you look at these events, that Formula One in particular, you see not global ideals represented on the billboards. You see the UBS, the Swiss-based global financial firm, and it's really very much a branding spectacle for world corporate interests, and miles away from the interests, the common interests of a local population. And in tragic circumstances that seem to be unfolding in Bahrain, the spectacle can look more and more hypocritical on the part of those who stage it.
Okay, Professor Alan Tomlinson from the University of Brighton, thank you very much.
Thank you.